okay right here? Okay.
We're on, Mayor.
Okay, hold on, I'm not on over here. Okay. You're fine, you're fine. I think you're good.
Are we ready?
Yeah, we're good.
Notice is hereby given that a regular council meeting of the town of Laguna Vista, Texas will be held Tuesday, the 11th day of August 2020 at 6 o'clock p.m. in the City Hall building at 122 Fernandez Street, Laguna Vista, Texas. Called order at 6:01. Please join me as Mayor Pro Tem Smith leads us in prayer and passion.
Lord, thank you for this wonderful day. Despite everything that's going on in the world, we have so much to be thankful for, and help us put our eyes on those things. Lead us in this discussion. I ask for your wisdom, discernment, and that you will guide us in these big decisions that we will make today. Bless this country, bless the president, bless all people in leadership. Guide them with your truth and purpose. In Jesus' name, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Roll call. Randy?
Mayor Houston?
Yes.
Here.
Yes.
Councilmember Carter?
Here.
Councilmember Howard?
Here.
Councilmember Gonzalez?
He said he would be a little bit after 6, so
Okay.
when he comes in, I'll announce it.
Councilmember Worrell?
He said he was going to be absent.
Councilmember Smith?
Your motion for Councilman Worrell. Sure. Motion on the floor made by Mayor Houston, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Smith to excuse Victor Worrell.
Councilmember Carter?
Yep.
Councilmember Howard?
Here.
Councilmember Gonzalez is not here yet. Councilmember Worrell is not here. Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Houston?
Yes.
Did you do Mayor Houston? I guess that's what you did.
Item 4, due to COVID-19 emergency, the town will live stream the meeting on the town's Facebook page at https://www.facebook.com/LVTexas/. Viewers will be allowed to comment during their live stream on any topic. Comments submitted after the close of the open forum may be read at the end of the meeting. Each commenter will be identified by Facebook username. There is no discussion or formal action taken during this agenda item. Item 5, consent agenda items. All matters listed under this item are routine by the council and will be enacted for approval by one motion. There will not be a separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Item A, consideration and action to approve the minutes of July 13, 2020 regular meeting.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion on the floor made by Mayor Pro Tem Smith and seconded by Councilman Carter to approve the July 13, 2020 regular meeting minutes.
Councilmember Carter?
Yes.
Councilmember Howard?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Houston?
Yes, motion passes. Item B, consideration and action to approve the minutes of August 4th, 2020 budget workshop special meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second. Motion on the floor made by Councilman Smith, seconded by the mayor, to approve the August 4th budget special meeting workshop.
Councilmember Carter?
Yes.
Councilmember Howard?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith?
Yes.
And Mayor Houston?
Yes, motion passes. New business, discussion, consideration, possible action on each of the following items. Consideration, possible action regarding postponement of May 2020 general and special elections to November 2020 and related matters. Alan?
Yes, Mayor, council members, council may recall that we took action to postpone our May election in light of the COVID emergency. Pursuant to our agreement with the county, we postponed it to November. The county is going to administer it. I think it'd be a good idea, and the Secretary of State actually recommends that governmental entities that postpone their May elections to November reaffirm the action to order the election. That way we can provide the public notice of the new dates and relevant polling places. So I prepared an amendment to what is essentially an amendment to our original order for the May election, basically updating it for the November election. I heard from county elections administrator just this afternoon with the Commissioners Court's latest action regarding the establishment of polling places and early voting times. So they're incorporated into this document as well. So I'm recommending that the council approve this resolution, and then we'll be good to go for November.
Thank you. Questions?
No, seems good. That's an action item?
Yes, we're adopting a resolution.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution that the Mr. Zima just suggested about on November 2020.
I'll second.
Motion on the floor made by Mayor Pro Tem Smith and seconded by Councilman Howard to approve the special elections November 2020 as the attorney said.
Councilmember Carter?
Yes.
Councilmember Howard?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Houston?
Yes, motion passes. Okay, now, Bill's turn. Consideration possible action regarding Laguna Vista Community Development Corporation's, oh, it's not Joe's turn. Next one's Joe's turn. Consideration possible action regarding Laguna Vista Community Development Corporation's Art Initiative Project. Mr. Mesa.
Yes, Mayor and Council, last year the CDC had approved to promote, let me see, get it right, to promote this project, which was the Art Initiative, which consists of murals done by our local artist, Christina Salazar, and they had approved not to exceed $7,965. And this project was to enhance the art and the beauty of Laguna Vista, the quality of life through murals. And they again went out for the 60-day public input, and that was fine. There was no one against it. And again, it was proposed to the last meeting. They approved it, so the council could consider it for approval. And this is going to be like the restrooms, the walls, some of the trash receptacles. And I know that we were talking about that the artist was asking whether they wanted natural or modern design. A lot of people wanted to focus on nature because we have the ecotourism park coming in, and of course our nature trail and how beautiful the park is. So, but we'll have a committee to meet with her to see what the council wants. So.
Any questions? Mr. Mesa? Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mesa. This is great. I just I saw some of the art that the artist suggested, and I would personally, some of it was really natural, some of it was really modern, and I would personally like to know exactly which piece of art with a good rendering is going to go in each piece of. Some art I've seen in cities are horrible and it looks really bad, and some art is spectacular. So I really want to know exactly what this artist will do on each piece and each piece, personally at least.
Yes.
And then also, I remember that I mentioned when you sent this paperwork initially, the wall I suggested for this bathroom was the wall facing Fernandez. I would suggest we do the wall facing this way. I mean, I just think more people will see it, as opposed to everybody that only drives on Fernandez. So that's my two requirements.
Yeah, we'll put a meeting together, and we'll meet with the artists to see what we want.
Yes.
The committee.
Like the green jay was really pretty, but it seemed to be a photograph that was kind of edited to look cool. So I'm curious if she was going to do a mural or paint it, or what she was. It is a she, right?
Painted. Yeah, she's an artist. She's done a lot of art. She's done the turtle ink, all the tanks. She painted beautiful murals on that. So she's very talented.
Thank you.
Just a moment. Let the record show that Councilman Gonzalez has arrived. 6:11.
Thank you.
Mr. Carter?
I just want to make sure that we're going to be able to approve everything that's
Yes.
going to be on there before it's done.
Yes.
Okay.
This is just the ratification of the expenditure by the CDC, and we can determine our own methods for actually approving the final product as a council. It's just authorized.
I just want to let you know that Christina is a fine artist. And I got tongue-tied at the beginning, sorry about that.
Any further questions? Any further questions, Councilwoman Howard?
I'm sorry.
Any further questions about this item? The art initiative? Okay, get a
No
motion.
question.
Okay, motion is in order.
I'll make a motion to approve the project to not exceed $7,965 for the art initiative in Roloff Park.
Second.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, I'll let you. Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Smith, seconded by Councilman Howard to approve the art initiative up to $7,965 and go off.
Councilmember Carter?
Yes.
Councilmember Howard?
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Houston?
Yes, motion passes. Now it's time for Sonia. Presentation regarding guidance from Texas Education Agency and COVID relief funding. Sonia Herrick.
Good evening, Mayor Houston. I can't see you. I wish I could
I
see
know,
you. And
I can see you.
Council members, thank you for the opportunity to present to you on Operation Connectivity. If I can share my screen.
Should be good now. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, Operation Connectivity, supporting remote learning for our PIISD students. So what is Operation Connectivity? It's TEA's initiative for bridging the digital divide. We know that with COVID-19, our districts are having to go to start school with remote instruction, and PI is committed to making sure that all of our students have access. What Governor Abbott and the legislature did was they allocated $200 million in CARES Act funding to match $200 million in local district funding. So what that means is that for every dollar that we spend, that the district spends, TEA will match dollar for dollar what we, the money that we use for purchasing devices and internet for our students. Through the bulk ordering program, TEA was able to leverage pulling all of the districts together to do the bulk order so that they ordered over 1 million e-learning devices and over 500,000 hotspots. So what that did was it's given us tremendous value for our dollar. We're getting great reduced rates for everything. So for example, if we purchase an iPad for $400, they were able to get it down to under close to $300. So and because of the bulk order, it's reduced pricing. Texas received $11.24 billion in CARES Act funding, and from that, we know that cities and the counties received a portion of $5 billion approximately. And that's where we're asking if our cities and counties can help allocate a portion of those COVID relief funds to help us provide devices and internet for our students. We know that through this bulk ordering process, we're getting tremendous, steeply discounted rates, and that will help us ensure that all of our students have access not only to devices, but to connectivity. So what did PI order? We ordered 200 hotspots and 150 iPads. The reason that we only purchased those was the district has devices at each campus. I don't know if you can see the numbers there, but we're not at a one-to-one device yet. And we want to be able to provide that for our students. We have a connectivity survey that's been posted for 3 weeks on our district website, but we only have approximately 642 surveys completed, which didn't give us all of the data that we needed. So what each campus has done is they're calling every parent. They're making phone calls to make sure that they reach every family because we want to ensure that all of our students are going to be able to have access day one. So from our preliminary count from the devices needed from the phone calls, and this is, my campuses are saying that they're reaching an average of 75%. We're looking at deploying 320 iPads and 432 Chromebooks. But then Dairy Elementary is telling me we haven't reached all of our students. So right now we're needing 154 hotspots, and all of our hotspots are content filtered to comply with CEQA requirements. Because I knew that if we want to be transparent and make sure that everybody sees these numbers as of today from the students that have, the families that have been reached. Laguna Vista right now is needing a total, we have students needing 124 devices and 23 hotspots. But if we look across the board, we're needing 752 devices and 154 hotspots to make sure that all of our students have access. So we're finding what Dairy Elementary, what Ms. Valdez told me this afternoon and Ms. Salinas told me from Barriga, is that they're finding that many of, they're not getting responses to their phone calls, partly because a lot of the phones have been disconnected, which makes sense. During this COVID pandemic, we know that many of our parents have lost their jobs. So we know that we're gonna have an influx of, we're gonna have higher numbers of students needing devices and hotspots, and that's why we're reaching out to see if the town of Laguna Vista will help us with providing, allocating some of your COVID relief funding to help us with these devices and this internet. Our distribution dates will be from the 17th through the 20th at each campus. Each campus has already posted their distribution, and parents have been notified. So we're hoping that by the 21st, all of our students will have their devices and their hotspots. Because of course PI is committed to bridging the connectivity divide and ensuring that all of our students have access to high quality instruction. But we know they need their devices and they need internet, and that's why we're reaching out to the town of Laguna Vista. You guys have any questions, or would you like me to go back through some of this? Ms. Alarcon is also on the line and would like the opportunity to share.
Welcome, Ms. Alarcon.
Good evening, Mayor and all of our Laguna Vista Council. My name is Terry Capitran, proud superintendent of Point Isabel ISD. And first and foremost, thank you for the opportunity to present this information to all of you. You may be aware, we are beginning with remote instruction August 24th. And our goal is to ensure that all of our students have the devices that they need, whether they're an iPad or a laptop, as well as with the Wi-Fi device. In addition, beginning next week, we will be providing all of our parents with videos and webinars on the different platforms that we will be utilizing and using the iPad and our Chromebook. So as we embark into the 2021 school year, it is critical that all of our parents and all of our students have the necessary resources, not only with the devices and Wi-Fi, but with the training as well. So we thank you so much for the opportunity to present to you. And earlier, I believe it was latter part of last week, I spoke with Mr. Massa to provide an overview of the instructional year. I am greatly appreciative for his willingness to convey information via the email to all of the Laguna Vista residents. Our goal is to ensure that everybody has all the information needed to ensure that our students have a successful school year. So again, on behalf of Point Isabel ISD, I thank you so much for this opportunity, and we welcome any questions that you may have at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Alarcon. Any questions, comments? All right, Councilwoman Smith.
Hi, I don't know if you guys can see me, but this is Councilwoman Smith. I'm just curious, I wasn't exactly sure.
Yes,
Hi, this is Councilwoman Smith. I wasn't exactly sure. You said cities are gonna get $5 billion, that's gonna divide it up. When I'm not sure if I understood, when will we know how much we're getting as a city, or do you know already what we're getting as a city? Or does anybody know?
Not on our end,
We don't know.
right, Gloria?
Do you
No.
know, do you know when we will know?
Ms. Vanessa?
No, what we'll do is that at the end, when we gather all what we expended, we just present it to them, and they'll consider if they're gonna pay for what we had with any of our expenses we had during the COVID. So, and that's
Because
how
we're
we
kind
do
of at a time crunch, right? You guys said you want to distribute these devices on the 18th of August, correct?
Correct. We have already ordered through TEA, but they will give us time to pay it off.
Oh, okay.
Because we're gathering all that information. I know that Randy had put together a form that we were telling all the department heads to list what they've already expended for the COVID, any supplies.
And one more question, ma'am. So you said each device is at about $300, correct? And what do the hotspots run at cost-wise?
They're, the ones that we're getting, the hotspots cost $60 each, but then TEA will pay half of that. And then we pay a monthly $10 fee per device. So when we're looking at, for the 150 devices, it's approximately $27,000. At 200 devices, we're looking at, I wrote that down.
So for the 123 devices for us, it'll be about $72,000. That's just for the devices. And then the hotspots.
Right, but TEA is going to pay half of it.
that. Okay.
And
So you'll
so
need
what
about-
we're reaching out to is for help with our half, because any dollar for dollar that we are able, that the city allocates, TEA will match it again. So of our $200 that we have to pay for device, if we can get $100 from the city, then we pay $100 per device.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Did you have another question?
No, I was just doing the math to see what kind of we're looking at. So if we're 124 devices times $100, that's $12,000. 33 hotspots, it's $30 each. Okay, I was just trying to do the basic math when the numbers come in, so
Right.
we can present it and
So
get
I
back
can
to you
give
guys.
you the numbers right now. We're looking at purchasing approximately, it will cost us $93,900, but TEA will pay half of it, so we're looking at $46,950 for the district.
Okay.
But if we wanted to purchase more, if you could give us more purchasing power, then we could take that, portion of that,
Okay.
and TEA will match it again. So if we get, whatever amount we get from the town, TEA will match it again.
Okay. Well, hopefully each city will pull their own weight and,
Absolutely, that's our goal.
Yes.
And that's why we were very transparent with our numbers. We want every town to see how many devices, how many children are needy in that community.
what a great country we live
Absolutely.
in. Really, it's awesome. It's not happening where I'm from.
Any other questions? Any other questions for Capistar or someone? Do you all have any questions of us? Do you all have any questions of us?
Thank you
No,
for
again,
that.
just thank you so much
Well,
for
thank
the
you.
opportunity.
Thank you,
Mayor
ladies.
Mayor.
Thank you.
Good to see you all.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, this is an action, well, this is, it's not an action item. Well, it could be.
This one, I can even zoom out right, nobody else is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's already, yeah.
What?
This is an action item?
Well, it could be.
Possible.
It could be, because of the way, number 6, new business was, it
Yes.
could be. But we don't know how much money we're getting reimbursed. And I should have asked, what are the other towns doing?
That's why I kind of write down the numbers that was needed for the Lula Vista. And then
124
it was 124 tablets and 33 hotspots. That was on- So I'm hoping each city would pull their own weight, I would imagine.
But then we have Laguna Heights, so what is going on?
I didn't see, did anybody see the numbers for Laguna Heights?
No, we had it, it was just PI and
was 200.
Yeah,
For Laguna
Laguna
Heights?
Heights was up there.
200
Yeah.
devices.
In Laguna Heights?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I would greatly consider to do that.
You remember having any hotspots?
No, I just saw 200 on.
I'm sure it's about approximately what we have.
Should we table it till we get numbers back? Is this part of the numbers you have to present to the?
Yeah, I mean, we have to present for them, and, I mean, but we don't, we just, the way it's stated here, we just put it on a request, right, from our city saying we need this much part of this program. It's not that we purchase it and then we get reimbursed for it.
No,
Okay,
that's
that's
not
right.
what I understood from what she said, no.
It's just that there's a
We
program
request-
already in there.
I would only approve this if they put the money up front and then they did the request out of our bundle. Like, we have a little bucket of money, and if they want the money back, then they would have to, then we would approve for them to request that money
To go
to get
to
back.
I mean officially, not like just what they did now, because I feel like that's what they did right now, no?
Well, we would have to officially say, you can use some of our purchasing power and use some of the money that was allocated to our city to fund the school district.
But we don't know what our purchase.
But we don't know what our-
to be.
It's
What our
based on
bucket is.
And it's based on our need too.
Yeah, we don't even know what our expenditures are right now, probably,
We're putting that together.
that we need to, for you to use that money.
Well, luckily she said they're gonna buy it on loan, kind of, so
Yeah, and
they'll,
then pay it back.
at a time.
So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Alan, the way this is worded, we don't have to do anything tonight.
No, we don't have to do anything tonight. We could do something tonight if we wanted to. It seems like the finality of it is so up in the air that we might have to come back and do something else later. So the council may want to just defer action at that point. It doesn't seem like they need us to take action tonight without going forward with their portion. So, I mean, that would be the only circumstance under which I would say it would be essential to act tonight. So,
It sounds like it's gonna happen with or without our help, but then the more we give, the more they can get.
And also, they didn't really give us a number.
Yeah, there's no number.
Oh, she did, she said they need
I think it'd
46,000.
be great if they would just be like, no, but that's the overall package.
That's for the whole district.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I wish they would come and ask us just,
Yeah, they're still working on trying to get more.
here's the number, and then I
Yeah,
feel more
and
comfortable. Right now,
we're
it seems
talking
real
about-
open-ended.
When we're talking about Laguna Heights, did they already split that up?
No, they haven't split
With our-
between.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because it's a whole number, what sections, our hotspots are in subsection, and their section, the city of Port Isabel versus our AQ, yeah. I was just-
Okay, so we don't have to make a motion.
Can we table it?
We don't even need to table it, do we?
No, it's
I
not.
mean, either,
We'll just wait till you're ready to give us some next
Next month,
We'll
next
follow
month,
up.
next month? Okay. Oh my goodness, it's time to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
Second,
It's my favorite
let
motion.
me do something, second that motion.
Okay, motion on the floor made by Councilman Smith, seconded by Councilman Gonzalez to adjourn at 6:29.
This is the ordinance, but.
Councilmember Carter?
Yes.
Councilmember Howard?
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Houston?
At least we know where it is now.
Motion, adjourn, motion passed. Okay, let's take a 5-minute break.
Yeah.
And then we to our next item. We don't need to take a 5-minute break, then that's
You
great.
report it.
I have a question, I think this is kind of like, okay, that was a good presentation.
No, it's not.
What do we do? I didn't want to say, you know what I wanted to ask her, I was like, so what do we do now? But I like, no.
What she said.
Yeah, do you have a question? Yeah, now what do we do?
What about the fingerprints?
So she asked Mr.
Just
Mendoza.
excluding.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't see that.
You can't do it.
Oh, it's inclusive.
Yeah, you put the big Q,
Yeah, so we were coming.
but it's just a Q.
That's Rachel.
Quotient,
What does the key mean?
quotient or what?
It's like that Q and like the goes. It's like a conspiracy.
Going live.
from our last meeting is Marcus Smith said that he got carried away by the mosquitoes. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Notice is hereby given that a special workshop council meeting of the town of Laguna Vista, Texas will be held Tuesday, the 11th day of August, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. in the City Hall building at 122 Fernandez Street, Laguna Vista. Call to order, 6:35. Had our pledge and our invocation. A roll call.
Mayor Houston,
Here.
Councilmember Carter,
Here.
Councilmember Howard,
Here.
Councilmember Gonzalez,
Here.
Councilmember Worrell, and Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Need a motion to excuse Mr. Worrell.
I make a motion to excuse Mr. Warren.
Mr. Gonzalez. Motion on the floor made by Councilman Smith, seconded by Mr. Gonzalez to excuse Councilwoman Worrell.
Councilmember Carter,
Yes.
Councilmember Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith,
Here.
Mayor Houston.
Yes, motion passes.
Did I say here?
Yeah.
That's
I took it as a yes.
Well, when she was doing roll call the first one and she asked me, I said yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Item 4, discussion, consideration, possible action on each of the following items. Discussion of the 2020-21 fiscal year budget and related matters. Mr. Mason?
Yes. Mayor and council, Randy and I, we went through the whole, Randy was researching, we did a lot of counting and calculating and what have you. And I can go over the memorandum again, there's some okay, there's some changes, so I'll start it's the inter-office memorandum. Current total tax rate, 0.354124. The breakdown of the tax rate is maintenance and operation is 0.319624. The interest and sinking is 0.034500. And the tax rates from last year was, they're all the same. They're 0.319624. The INS, interest and sinking fund, 0.0345, which leads to 0.354124. And that was for the year 17-18, 18-19, 19-20, and then this year. The certified value for this year is $338,140. And effective tax rate, it's no new revenue rate now, which they changed. And in the 2020 tax calculation, the effective rate is 0.334459. And which would, the total levy would be $1,085,578. And it says, please see attached spreadsheet providing different tax rates. So we did Randy put together something to show you the different tax rates with different, like the 3 cents, 4 cents, what have you. Last year we had, like I said, the last year rate, it totaled the levy $1,135,240. And interest and sinking fund, as today, the town has $101,501 in its interest and sinking fund. Principal payment due is at $86,735, leaving balance to start the new fiscal year at $14,846. The debt for this fund is the amortization schedule, and we would pay this on March 2021, which should be $19,056. September 1st, 2021 is $89,056, and it comes out to with that $108,112. The town currently has $665,375 cash in the bank as of July 31st. The last 2 years, 2019, we had $601,320, and the year before was $688,042. So some of the cost reductions, when we start going over the budget, GoDaddy, the contract and terms of agreements were reviewed, and it was determined that the email domain security term is every 2 years, which relieved the 2021 budget of approximately $11,000. However, it is important to note that the expense will go up from the 2022 budget. So see attached, it's in there. The phone system, as you know, we update our phone systems that now include a more integrated system between all city buildings, voicemails, and allows us to manage the flow of calls much more efficiently. The savings this new system provided to us is about $6,500 per year. If you have any questions.
Somebody jump in.
And back here, it shows the rates after that, how much we're saving.
Yes, Councilman.
Gosh, I have several questions. So, first of all, we need to pick the effective rate. And especially, I was talking to Randy earlier, so if we, Mike, help here, so I'm not sure I understand. So if we pick an effective rate, like pick your piece. So say we pick, let's put it, so say we pick 0.35. Last year's rate.
Last year.
Okay, but this will be our work. So then, shouldn't we do the budget on that number?
Yes, that's, well.
On the
that
M
was-
and O number?
Here's the first question to ask.
Oh.
Is the interest and sinking expense in our budget?
No.
No, it's not.
Okay, so first off, we're at 23,278 plus right now with the interest and sinking revenue in there, but there's no expense for $108,000.
Yep. 108, 601.
So that's number one.
So that's what I feel like, I personally don't feel like we can go much further until we decide what we're gonna do. Because there's several other things here that I've noticed, but that we can talk about later. I just feel like personally, we need to decide. But right, shouldn't you do a budget from the M and O?
Yes,
Because
each
if you-
each have its own fund.
Because if we do last year's rate, that's 0.35, it gives us 1.135 million, más o menos. But the M and O there is $1,003,361. So that takes a good $132,000 away from our actual budget, right? Am I wrong? I'm not, I just.
You're right.
You're right.
We're $84,000, $85,000 in the red.
So if we go by the 100, if we pick last year's rate, then our actual working budget should be $1,003,361, correct?
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, then we're in a pickle because then we're out of $108,601. $108,601. Or we're off.
Yes, ma'am.
We're $85,000 in the red to start, after we did all the cuts last month.
You're welcome.
So if we stay at 0.35, and if we go at 0.36 maybe,
On page 3, there's a listing of what different amounts.
0.36 is not on here, but it gives, I feel like if you quickly look, it gives you about 35,000.
Yeah, Penny is roughly 35,000.
Yes, dollars extra in your budget. But even if we're at 2 pennies.
Look under tab 3, Mr. Gonzalez.
For example.
You have it? It's under tab 3.
So if we
I
add
was looking for
two,
something.
Okay.
so if we're at 2 pennies, that'll give us our M and O rate of $1,118,000. Which puts us a little bit closer to what this budget was working on, the original. I think before we do anything else, we need to pick our
Just see where,
effective rate or our tax rate that we're looking at. And then also we can talk about how much percentage in the M&O and percentage in the INS. I don't quite understand from a financial perspective what's the benefit of the percentages.
You can't really negotiate a whole lot on that, it's just, you can only just do one or the other, it's a kind of it's a sticky situation, put
Why?
it that way.
Why?
Because it's looked down but it's, and we can only
If
do
you-
so much.
If you move money from the INS,
Yeah, it's legally bound to be spent only on
That's
INS.
so is there a legal percentage has to be in the INS?
a legal percentage.
Like, here it
It
says
has to-
11.6 and then
It-
8.8, what is the legal percentage?
It has to cover the debt that you have, but there's also a bunch of other calculations that go into it, like they sent
Oh,
us
so
last time that,
fluctuates based on the
the
debt.
truth in taxation, which is like a 15-page document that goes on how the tax rate is created. It's very lengthy, so.
Any thoughts from anybody? on
What's the bond payment again? Is it 108?
Yes, sir.
What?
108, I think 112.
Yeah, what I do.
108, 112.
Okay. Minus 2278. So $85,000.
What we need in the INS, which needs to go into the INS this year,
Yes.
right?
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So if we're, right now, in INS, we're at
Last year's rate was-
1,361.
No, wait, are you looking at this year's, the effective rate or the last year's rate?
This is last year's rate.
Okay, so that's 0.041138, that one?
Minus. Only 1088.
In which one?
In INS.
Why does this percentages vary so greatly across there? Is it because when the,
I don't know, I did math.
so say, Mike, we could see, option C, so say we do 0.374124.
This is actually 0.088. Yeah, 8.8%, and this one, 0.4.
Randy, why did the, may I ask, when you did this options for us, why did the
That was this percentages was already there, 'cause I don't know, and I don't know why they don't equal up, I don't know the answer, that was just the calculation that came from the state. So they give us the first one up at the top, set up with what, if we were to do the, effective tax rate, and then you can, from there, basically copy and paste and play with your numbers and figure out what,
so you didn't change those percentages?
no,
right?
those calculated automatically, and I would change the rate, so,
You just changed
I just added a
27
penny or,
yeah.
took a penny off, or changed the rate and then took a penny or minus a penny on the M&O and INS. I think it has to do with the percentage of the debt, cause that number comes off of that up here at the top where you see the this year's debt rate or whatever, or I think that's one of the numbers that they used in that formula.
This year's debt rate is 0.0411, that
Yeah,
one? It's in that big block on the top, just a
Mhm.
few lines below with yellow
yeah, 0.04,
highlight.
Right.
this year debt rate.
Is that for the city, or is that?
No, I think that's for our INS, like what I think that has to do with what we need for the.
Suggestions, Mr. Carter?
Is B correct?
It doesn't look correct, right? It doesn't make sense, because the percentages,
I mean, if B is right, we're super close.
but then look at the INS of B and C, how is that so different?
It's because of the freeze the
Because the
freeze levy,
percentages
they're
are-
getting changed around a lot there, I think. So your freeze levies are, that's a big part of it. Because we have an elderly population,
Is that,
and so that freeze rate really comes into play for us.
I don't even know what that is, but okay.
Your taxes are frozen after you're a certain age.
Don't look at me when you say, oh. He said hourly and then looked right at me. I know.
After a certain age.
I tease. I know the truth.
So you're looking at B, saying, but that keeps us at 0.35.
Exactly.
But that's what this budget is almost on. Except we didn't use the M&O rate. Right, so that'll give us 1,067,476. That'll give us
Yeah, here.
that number.
Yeah, so we're at like,
Hey, what are you doing there?
Javon, your microphone's on.
Oh, she got toddlers.
oh my gosh.
So we
Right,
can,
close expenditures. You see, gosh. And this revenue is based off of which one?
So 1,135,000.
A,
A.
right?
Well, that's it, cause
Yes,
it was
on A.
used the total. So that's
That's A.
that's A. Well, not really A, because it's not, it's A with the total, but A really only has 1 million.
Yeah, but
To get the 1,135,000, we'd have to go down to option D. That's the first one that I found that would make it go to 1,138,000. And
In the
then
M&O.
in the M&O.
Yeah, that's.
so we need $1,111,962. And we got 14 in INS, right?
Yes, sir.
And then we're gonna have an extra 35 after the end of at the end of the year. Correct? Or no?
I don't know why I did it.
Yeah, why would we have to, what is it, what do you mean?
Well, based on how much we collected versus how much we're gonna spend.
Would be the
So regardless from now, we have to do the budget on the M&O. Okay, so let's make sure we. Move back to these.
Right, we need $1,111, is what you figured out,
Right, to leave it with everything as
to
is.
go, to get to zero.
Hmm? If we stay at the rate we're now, working the budget on the M&O that we'll have, we're at $108,000 deficit. So the budget we have right now was a 1.135 million, right?
Right.
But if we go on the M&O, which was 1,003,
I think it's only 80 something, I don't have that number written down.
well, my math could be a dabble, but, yeah, we're off 100 and, yeah, we're off 100 and, we went from 1.135 million to 1.003 million. We had a $23,000 plus más o menos surplus, which was at about a 108. So we were, here's the exact numbers. If we stay at the rate that we were last year, that you did this budget on, and we go in the M&O. So we go from 1.135240, we go down to 1003361, right? So that gives us a deficit of $131,879. And subtract the $23,000 we have in surplus, so that gives us $108,000. And we're in the rate. Am I correct? Okay, so
Minus,
she went on this number, right?
yeah.
We should have gone on that one.
Yeah.
So the difference there is $131,000.
Yep.
Okay, we had on this budget, we had a $23,000 surplus, right? So subtract that from that $131,000, gives us a $108,000 deficit. So we need a budget that's
I
gonna
get
come up.
111, I get 1,000,001, I get,
Okay, let's call it 110
yeah.
that we need.
We need to get to 1.1 million on revenue. From M&O.
So we're gonna do.
So,
That's why you said.
This, quick question, this money that we can apply for, that, this COVID money, because we lost a lot of money
Oh, yeah,
from
we
court
lost
costs.
Almost
From-
100,000. Right,
Can
it
we
was-
apply for that, in that
That's what I was
money?
looking to, we spoke about that, I know, because it was,
So the court,
money that we lost.
the court bonds, we lost $17,000. The court bonds, we've lost $21,000. That's just on this first page. So we talked about that a lot. There was a lot, if I go to the court, yeah, that was a lot of money, right? So can we apply for that money, for the COVID, for COVID relief
I'll
money?
see what if they would fund that, because, I mean, can it be done, or?
Well, yeah, I just,
Means-
it's
Directly
depend on,
related.
whether it gets approved.
Yeah, we could submit it and see if we get gets approved versus stuff. But it was a loss because of COVID.
Of course,
Right now,
exactly.
we don't have any attribution.
I can't find the board budget right now, but let's, that could help.
It's on number 10. The
What
court,
page-
the
what
court
page
budget.
is it?
Well, it's 16. Under tab number
That's the first
10.
page on tab 10.
Yes, sir. you're looking to,
Right.
The revenues on page one?
well, the revenues are at the front with, just any other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not $100,000.
No, it's not, I thought it was.
It's,
You had said between all the departments, when you added up all of the shortages and all of them, it came to about 100,000.
due to COVID.
I didn't have those.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
You had said that when you added up all the differences of the shortages in all the departments, it equals 100, not just in court alone,
No,
right?
that was when it was doubling remember the Excel was adding all the rest of the.
But that was not related to COVID in any way.
Oh, no, no, no,
Right,
no, no,
right.
that's-
So
that was-
only to COVID, the costs we can relate to
Would be
COVID,
with-
losses
with
we
the-
have. Well, there's that.
Yeah, court fine 16,000 or 17,000. Court bond was 20.
Full technology, well, that's just a little something we can maybe look at, but, Mike, any suggestions? Mr. Ozuna, can we
I
just,
can only think of going up 2 cents. I mean, you go up 2 cents and you give a 1%
give 1%?
increase.
Um,
That's some way we can make it work.
Can we, that's what I was gonna ask, Mr. Ozuna, can we approve a budget that is not balanced?
Yeah.
No.
Yes, you can.
Well, I mean,
You balance it with fund balance.
right, it's a modified. with that
So-
caveat.
But we've done that in the past.
And it's not smart.
And we don't know where we're gonna end up right now. I think it's a bad idea that we even think about doing that.
No, I'm not thinking of it, I was just curious
Yeah.
how you, because we are waiting for some money to come in. It's not a lot, but there's,
I mean, we're in the unknown right now.
Yeah.
And we're not asking for any one-time purchases right here. This is just operating.
Basic, yeah.
It's
Basic
running
operating.
from year to year.
gosh,
And,
I'm still perplexed how this happened from last
At the
year.
end of the last meeting, you brought up about taking, or what was it, bond money, or?
yeah,
No,
we
you moved from the
up
INS.
That's what it is.
We did that. But to go up 2 cents, how much would it cost our residents, average home cost? How much will that cost us, cost the taxpayer
average home.
every year?
Well, $100,000 house, two things,
That's
that's not.
No.
That's not the average.
You don't
Average is
do it,
probably
you don't do it like
200.
that? Probably
220?
How do you calculate, is there a
250.
rate to calculate?
250.
Is there a way to calculate that? Or
It's,
accurate?
it's on the camera cat.
Okay.
Camera cat has, and then I think also in the breakdown of your, in the truth and taxation, there's an average price, I believe.
So on $100,000 house, you're saying it'll be about $250? $250?
So the average house we have about 2.
Oh, okay.
So you did, it's like $50 a penny.
One of your questions where you have this happen, I can tell you right now that we probably have approximately $53,000 increase just in dispatch, jail, ambulance service.
Exactly.
Well, it's still not 108, but yes, I know there's some of it. It's a
That's
good chunk of
53,
it.
so I can do that.
Thank you.
But one of it's like $50 the average house.
To go up 2 cents.
$50? That would be more.
Me too.
Yeah, okay,
So did you do that on a,
$4 a month.
on a did you do that on a,
$4?
I'm sorry, I just trying to,
$250,000.
on a $250,000?
Yeah, that's 48.
$50?
$2 and a quarter.
Yeah.
Go wait, $50 annually or monthly?
Annually.
Yeah, it's like she says.
No, that's nothing.
To some people, it is $50 is if you're on fixed income or, but, that's the only way we can do it.
Yeah. Bottom line. It's on the way. We're gonna do it.
At least I think.
Please look at real numbers. I don't know how to do that, so. And since that's, Mr. Ozuna, since that's under the,
The
we
real
won't
one,
push for a
right.
election or a referendum or.
The real number we're looking at is 0.53,
0.53.
right, because that's the below that, but above the voter approval rate, it's still possible to trigger an election, but it's under the old procedure where there has to be a petition and the election's not until May of next year.
We're far away from that with
Right.
0.37.
There's a super safe zone below the voter approval rate that doesn't even trigger the petition option.
Yeah, I heard about that, but I don't quite understand the legal.
It's the change, the thrust of the change in the law was to make exceeding the voter approval rate automatic for most cities. In other words, you have what used to be called the rollback rate is now the voter approval rate, whereas before, if you exceeded the rollback rate, people could circulate a petition to draw an election. Now it becomes automatic. So for smaller communities, there's now basically three procedures. There's the automatic election, which is exceeding the de minimis rate. There's being in between the voter approval rate and the de minimis rate, which triggers the old style petition procedure. And then being below the voter approval rate, or the rollback rate, which doesn't trigger anything at all. There's no option to have voter approval of a tax issue.
Yeah.
Basically three zones. For a bigger city, it's only two zones, either you are or you're not above the voter approval rate. For smaller cities, you could be above the voter approval rate and below the de minimis rate, and fall under the old petition-driven procedure.
The 2 cents doesn't activate approval right now.
It won't activate automatic election approval, but the 2 cents puts us where in terms of the rate, that's where we're talking about 0.37, yeah, so that's above our voter approval rate, but below the de minimis rate, which means that the review option is the old style petition option. It's potential that we could receive a petition calling for an election, assuming a sufficient petition. Just like it was before 2019, just like prior to this.
I mean, the last thing I want to do is raise the taxes, but you have to make a budget.
I mean, comparatively, we're a lot lower. Leondo, Port Isabel, Los Fresnos. I mean, you look around. I mean, and
What's
like
this Fresno
Susie
street?
said last time, when this community takes pride in having low tax rate,
Yes, we
but
always have.
we gotta survive some way or another.
We do.
Yeah.
What is those Fresno's rate?
I don't know, but I remember they were quoting them last time, and I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, Rio Hondo, which is a very comparable community to us, kind of in a way, but not really, because we have a lot of other things going on.
Business.
They don't, right? They're comparable.
Mhm.
And you say your tax rate's high in Rio,
What did you
compared
say?
to
It was
us.
0.8
Double
something?
Double ours.
That's
That's high.
real hard.
Yeah, it's, I was
Okay.
just shocked. Yeah,
That's the magic.
and Los Fresnos does have a lot of businesses on Highway 100 and around that.
Do we have to set the tax rate tonight?
Well, we don't have to set the tax rate tonight, but the only thing that we would have to do tonight would be if we were going to call for a calculation of the voter approval rate using the 1.08 multiplier instead of the 1.035 multiplier. That's just a directive to staff, but it has to be approved by the governing body. And so, and the material difference there is that using the 1.08 multiplier, I think I calculated that for us, that would produce a rollback rate of 0.37218. So we didn't exceed that number. If we directed staff to use the 1.08 multiplier and didn't exceed that number, then there would be no possibility of even petition procedure. We would be below the voter approval rate. And the reason we're allowed to do that is because we were subject to a disaster declaration as a result of the hurricane.
I'm trying to remember if it was COVID or it's hurricane.
Well, COVID arguably could qualify as well, but it's a little iffy because the COVID wasn't specific as to a county. It was just sort of statewide. The hurricane declaration was specific as to certain counties, and so it tracks more closely with the statutory language.
1.18.
So it's kind of like basically trying to find the highest rate without activating
What was those
the
first ones?
petition.
Right. It becomes, it's not really that, all that important question for us, because our de minimis rate is so high.
Los Fresnos is 1.18.
Yeah, so it's $20 for every $100,000 per year.
No, Rio Hondo is at like 89.
Wow.
89 cents?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
Annually.
annually, yes.
And that's, it's $4 a month, like.
I've done all the math.
So that's about $4 a month.
$4.50.
Be more precise than 4.5. Yeah, it's, I mean.
We had this discussion when we did the CO bonds,
Yes.
and it was going to be McDonald's once a month.
That was $10, that was 10 years ago.
I know.
We haven't raised the rate in 10 years, I don't
I
think.
may get out of it next time, but I have no problem.
Okay, so have we come to an agreement?
Do we have an
I
option?
have no problem.
I mean, I don't think we have a change, I don't think we have
We
an
don't have a
option.
choice.
So you're,
Yeah,
so
but
just,
I don't have it.
so option C?
I'm saying this is my final,
Is the final answer, sir?
My final answer
Final answer.
is, there's gonna be no one-time purchases until after we see what happens with the COVID money.
Yes.
We choose tax rate C,
See.
and we give a 1% raise.
1% raise
Yes, to the
to
employees.
the employees.
At least they get something.
So with tax rate identified in C, there would be no benefit to using the disaster declaration rate because we're
I'm not
over
gonna
that.
go there.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna even come close to that.
So the 1%.
May as well get run out of town if that were the case.
So the 1% increase is a total of, I'm rounding, of about
I'd like to be the first one.
$40,000. Which three? Of the abatement.
Say highway.
We need some sales tax
I
dollars.
know, man, that's what I'm thinking, I'm like highway, what,
So you're looking
Push
at
the
C6.
highway,
I mean,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
1%
that line is
increase.
waiting for us to do that, you know, that line just keeps getting longer.
You
and
get a
longer.
2-cent
They're
increase.
looking for things to do here in
Do you
Oh,
disagree?
The stop sign.
No, don't go with my math.
I'm sorry.
I was just trying to figure out the math because if we were.
I just wanted to,
Okay.
yeah.
Here's,
So it's
here's,
now
the- here's,
7,008.
here's my math. Is that we have $557,400 coming from revenues other than property
Yes.
taxes.
Correct?
Right.
Okay.
Part of it.
Maybe we should consider one.
So,
So,
yeah.
wait, we've got
I don't-
conflicting numbers here, so the 1% increase will be
See what I say, I don't details, but I
7,817.
see the big picture.
That's what I figured out.
You're
Oh,
correct.
yeah, yeah.
You're correct.
Yeah, so
No,
don't ask me any
Don't let me
questions.
explain.
Yeah, don't let me explain any of this, but.
And your expenditures
I missed the first one, I thought it was
69,362, right?
40,000 is better than 40.
15, 16, 19, yes.
Okay. Okay, so
So they were going with the image.
116, we're just double checking our math here for a second. So we're short $1,111,962.
We're short?
If you
No,
take
that's
the
just
six,
zero.
if you take the 1669, okay, and we get revenues of 557,400 from other sources other than property taxes.
I see,
Is that correct?
I see, yeah, and then we're short 1,111,000.
Yeah.
I follow. Okay.
But let's double check those numbers to make sure that's the right
The right.
number, okay, exactly. I'm just using big numbers.
I don't follow you. But let me show you what I'm thinking. So this is the budget we went from. This is what the budget was worked out. Actually, it is that's the budget we're gonna work with, right?
No, this is all I'm saying. I'm saying right now the budget is $1,669,362, right?
Well, we have a match, yes?
The revenue that we're gonna receive outside of property taxes, okay, property taxes included in here is $1,135,240.
Yeah, but that's the wrong number.
No, I know that, but that's not what we're getting.
And it's not even the amount, it's the total.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we're doing 1692,640, okay, total revenue. We subtract the property taxes current of 1,135,240. So we have revenues of $557,400 other than property taxes,
Okay.
okay? All right, that's all of these besides this number added up, okay? So if we take then our total expenditures of $1,669,362 and subtract it from that, minus 557,400, we get 1,111,962.
And this puts us, and this is what we,
And then if we go with the 118,
it's gonna put us at 118.
we get minus 118,753 equals 118,753. Stupid thing. 118,753 minus 111,962 equals 67, and then we need to find $1,000 to cover pay raises, which I'm sure you guys can nickel and dime that
I
budget
already
to
found it.
figure it out, so.
I already found it. Okay. Well, since you
And
found
then
it,
hopefully for you guys, we get some COVID money and we can do some purchases with that for you guys when we know where we stand at the end of all this.
and we can apply for some.
I apologize that we're not able to fund those.
Mayor, since we made that, is it okay if I did some few line items that was incorrect?
Sure.
That I noticed? That's
What
okay.
tab are you on?
Okay, I am gonna go to,
Let me just make sure one thing with that, I know, so there's that option with the adjusted debt rate, so do you want that's the M&O and INS that you want? Just within, so it'll be the 1,118,000.
753,
Uh-huh,
and then the 98,
98.
689, okay, then the 98, 689 plus the 14
14
gives me
will
my
make the
108 to
180.
pay for my INS payment for next year.
Okay, I just wanted to
And
make
we're
sure
gonna have that leftover money from the INS that we collected this year
that hasn't hit
to
the.
cover it.
Okay.
So
I
hopefully
just
next
wanted-
year, we can
That goes
Do
to-
something.
get some more money.
okay, I'm on page 6.
What tab?
Tab 6 or?
What tab?
Oh, sorry, it's under tab 6. It's like page 6, tab 6. So, we had spoken about this under the travel, I just made a note, so unless I missed something, but we put that down to 5,000. So right there,
Oh, yeah.
so that, right there, there's 2,000.
And I'm glad you brought up travel. The TML annual conference is virtual this year, so there won't be the travel expenses of going to Grapevine and staying at the Great Wolf Lodge or any of that.
So do
It's all
so
virtual.
can we make this even lower?
I think we can make that considerably lower, don't you think?
2,000?
Maybe not that low, because,
My only fear with doing that is that you're gonna need that budget next year.
okay.
Well, we'll also have our budget back after all this COVID craziness.
Yeah, which is why I'm saying that you're gonna lower it this year and then you're not, gonna maybe somebody might miss it that we lowered it not this year for next year.
Let's make
It's
notes.
just-
Can we
it's
make
just my-
extensive notes?
I'm just thinking out loud.
Y'all can always amend the budget. I know how much you love that.
Yes, exactly.
Well, maybe let's to make a note for next year to make sure we look at 3 years comparative budget, so we can remember. I think I will remember, but, so make this, what, 3,000?
I think, maybe we might, did you want to leave it at 7?
I think that we should that should be our balancing number. So take out whatever we need to take out of there, to balance to get to to get to zero,
1,000?
okay?
Mhm.
Whatever that,
Yeah, just that one.
you know what I mean? So if you
I
use
do.
that number
Use that number, okay.
to lower it so we can get to a balanced budget,
Okay,
then we can move money around throughout the year as we see fit,
Okay.
okay? Through budget amendment.
okay, good idea. I'm at page 7, under tab 7. This is just a side note, the math is wrong, just the math is wrong on the budget, first column. It's not 381,812, it's 353,114. Just, I don't know, maybe something moved over or something, the math.
Well-
The budget still balances, everything's the numbers, I'm just saying, if you're looking at these numbers, something's wrong, so.
Well, the difference is that, this was the total number that we budgeted last year, and it's because those 2 officers, the salaries aren't listed in there, because they are
Oh, so you
going
just
to
left the
next
number
year.
as it was?
So, yeah, so I just left the total number, so it would give the big picture of what we were going over,
Okay,
That was the approved budget for the prior year.
right.
okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
So yes, it is wrong, you're not incorrect, that it is wrong.
No, as long as I understand why it's wrong. Then also I'm on page 8, under the next page. So we had lowered the motor fuel to 18,000 and then we added 1,000 to ammunition. Remember that? you guys?
This is your page?
Page 8, tab 8, page 8. So we just moved 1,000 from the
Oh,
fuel
it's tab 7,
to the ammunition.
tab 7, page 8.
I was doing so many things that maybe I missed stuff.
It's okay. You already are doing this. You're doing great.
Tab 7? Yeah, that's the.
Okay.
Then I just had a question on contract services there. We were at $39,010. Actual this year is $26,400 and we kept it at 35. Is there a reason why that was? I can't remember or not. Is that just to keep up with the year? That's one of the ones that I wasn't sure about, that it didn't make quite sense to me, since we figured out some of the contract services doubled, but this one seemed to be really high. You see what I mean?
I do, I'm trying to remember. Do you remember why we didn't change your the contract services? Why we left it at 35 instead of, I think there's one expense, what expense hasn't come out yet for police on the contract services? One of them you pay at the very end.
I'm not sure.
I think there's one
I
of
don't
them.
know if it's a payment that's coming up for the jail, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it might be the last one on the jail, or it might be the copier lease. What we do with the copier
Oh,
lease
so it's
is-
not taken out yet?
Yeah, so I don't think that the
Yes,
25.
it was a $13,000 payment.
Yeah,
I
so
remember now, something that's
something
gonna
that
get
hasn't
paid.
hit yet, so I think that's why it got left. Uh-huh.
I think there's,
The copy leases.
It's the big copier lease, the one that we have up there, and we split it between all the departments. So each department pays a portion of it throughout the year.
and then I'm on tab 10, page 16, same thing, the contract service is there for the municipal court. Is there also a big payment that has to go out of there?
So the municipal court, that one's tricky just because, we left it, we haven't used Judge Ochoa in there as much as we normally do because we haven't had as many arraignments, and, then,
So, okay, but didn't we lower that a tad?
Well, you guys were talking, my notes, you were like talking, and then I just remember Mr. Carter saying, I don't like messing with court, and we just sort of, I didn't know if anything
Just
was
moved on.
official, yeah.
Okay, no
But I
worries.
know the biggest thing on the collections is just for, on the contract is just the judge's fees,
No, it's better to leave it like that, I guess.
Just see, that's what we get burned every year.
Yes.
Is in
And that's
court.
it, that's all I have.
No, come on, I have way more answers. Ask more questions. I have more questions.
No, it's good, we're getting, it's less and less and less, and you're doing great.
You're doing a great job, Randy.
I understand though.
Right, you're like,
I do understand.
you're glad, but then, okay. Okay, go ahead, the next one.
Well, is there any real quick action on item A? Are y'all ready to adopt the budget?
No. We have too many.
No, I want the whole budget to get through it again. I'm gonna flip the entire thing, you know. We wanna see the whole proposed budget again.
Yes,
Separate
we
it
have
out
already all the correct
with
numbers.
with a separate fund
INS.
for INS.
Yes.
Okay, take out the INS out of the revenue numbers, put it in its own fund.
Add the 1% salary increase.
Okay.
So that means we're not ready to take the tax rate to the tax rate.
Well, I'm not recommending that we take the action that I have listed here, because even with the 1.08 multiplier, the proposal for the tax rate exceeds that. So we're not saving ourselves any procedural steps by adopting the hurricane rate. Now, the only other benefit to doing it is that it has a duration of about 3 years. So we would have a 1.08, we could use a 1.08 multiplier in the next 2 years, even if there were no hurricane in the next year or the year after that. I don't know how advantageous that would be to us, since we're not proposing to. Since we wouldn't be close to the de minimis rate regardless, and we're not proposing that we approach the de minimis rate. So I'm not recommending necessarily that we direct staff to use a higher multiplier in reporting the tax calculations.
Let me go ahead and read that one since we're there. Item B, consideration of possible action regarding calculation of voter approval tax rates. So there's no action taken on that one either.
Yeah, not-
Neither one of those.
When you guys see the new budget, do you still want the actuals from last year, or do you
Yes.
want it just the
Yes,
living?
please. The same, the budgeted, the actual.
Okay.
full
Okay.
increase, please.
You're gonna have to kinda work it to where you get the INS pulled out,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, back into that number.
Okay.
Anything else? Thank you, Paula, thank you, Willie, for sitting through this. We didn't ask you any questions. I did ask you to prep. Thank you. All right, then a motion to adjourn?
Well, let me see if we have any comments.
Oh,
Okay. Everybody's mad at audio, as always.
okay. Ingrid Pettigrew says the audio is terrible, I apologize. Roxanne Mumray says terrible audio, bad audio, and that's it.
Well, they can't find much to complain. Can't hear what's going on, right?
There's more, but what, there's stuff going on.
We can.
Finals, don't even talk to me. Well, I'm sure your family.
Okay, motion to adjourn, who made that?
Second,
Hold on, first.
Michael just did.
I did.
Yeah, I second.
Motion on the floor made by Councilman Carter, seconded by Councilman Gonzalez to adjourn at 7:29. Mike, you have 1 minute to get home.
I know.
All right, vote.
Council